salary, and Kyrie Irving is back. He will play tonight when the Nets take on Cleveland. Now, this is the first time we're going to see the Nets' big three on the court together. And as you can see here, Big Perk here with us for this discussion. So, Perk, I want to start with you. What impact do you think Kyrie Irving is going to have on this team?
Oh, he's going to have a huge impact. Look, I know everyone is, saying that the Nets don't need Kyrie. They can make it out of the East. And that's right? I get that. But that's not the Nets' goal. James Harden wanted to get traded to Brooklyn, not just to make it to the finals, but to win a championship. And guess what? They're not doing that without Kyrie Irving. The guy is averaging 27 points on 50% shooting, by the way. So when I look at Kyrie Irving and I look at James Harden and Kevin Durant, this could be the most explosive offensive firepower that we ever seen in league history on one team. So when you add Kyrie Irving to what James Harden and Kevin Durant already showed us in a small sample size, he's just going to add to this. Now the pressure is going to be on Steve Nash and how he staggered their minutes and what type of position he's going to put these guys in. If I'm the coach, I'm using Steve Nash as a six-man type. Kyrie as a six-man type player, and not starting them and bringing them off the bench, but I would say I would sub them out, early in the first quarter, probably 6 minutes to go in the first, and I would bring him back to start the second and get the ball to him and let him just rock out. James Harden and Kevin Durant also is going to have to sacrifice to Kyrie Irving, meaning they're going to have to let him be who he is. And that's a guy that gets buckets. And I think KD and James, the way, the energy that I see them playing with, the joy, and I know that they want to win the championship, they're going to have no problem with doing that. Now, Kyrie, he's going to have to be mentally there, mentally focused. And we just hope that he is. You just never know with him. But at the end of the day, he's still a guy that's giving you 27 a night on 50% shooting and still one of the best one-on-one players that this game have.
Yeah, you can't disagree with any of that. I don't think that Kyrie obviously isn't going to make them any worse offensively, but that's not the question. They don't have any problem scoring. You talk about them being maybe one of the best offensive teams we've ever seen. I'm not sure they surpassed the KD Warriors because that team fit together a little better offensively. I don't think you need another ball handler in Kyrie. Obviously, that's true. They got two guys that can handle the ball quite well. I think what they need is defense. And I understand the stagger the minutes idea. It sounds good and it makes sense all the way through the regular season. Maybe it makes sense through most of the postseason. But no one's going to stagger their minutes in closing time. In closing time, it's going to be hard to get defensive stops with Kyrie and Harden and Kevin Durant without having a real rim protector like they had in Jared Allen. So I understand that Kyrie's talent is immense, but we can't pretend like this is some sort of perfect fit. He's not Klay Thompson. He's not a guy that's going to get you 40 points on 10 dribbles. Kyrie is going to get you 40 points on a couple hundred dribbles. And that's just not a perfect fit for this offense. So I don't see them having any problem integrating Kyrie right now. But in the playoffs, when they need to get a stop at some point, they're obviously not going to put Kyrie on the bench or Durant or Harden on the bench at closing time in the game. I worry about what happens to that defense when they was DeAndre Jordan is the defensive stopper in that unit.
Yeah, but Dominique, listen, this is what people don't give Kyrie enough credit for. Kyrie is the guy that could play off the ball. Matter of fact, he's not Klay Thompson. Nobody in the league is Klay Thompson. But Kyrie could play off the ball. He's actually a better spot-up shooter than what he gets credit for. And I get it, on the defensive side of things, they may need stops and, down the stretch. But to be honest with you, I don't know if it's going to be a down the stretch, because if you have this much offensive firepower, the lead might just be a 10 or 15-point lead where it might not be predicated on the defensive end of the basketball. And by the way, when you have a team like this that have one goal of winning the championship, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, when locked in, they can play defense well enough to get stops because they're going to put up 130-plus points a night, period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think that if they're going to win, they're going to have to win by outscoring people because I don't know about the defensive side of the ball. And no one disagrees with you. I know Kyrie can play off the ball. We saw him, obviously, with LeBron. I know he can shoot. He can handle the ball. He can do everything. And they have, they got so much offensive firepower that they can do without any one of those guys and just be fine on offense. That doesn't change the defensive side of the ball. And I know when it's time to close the game, they're going to put their best effort forward defensively, but it doesn't change the fact that they traded away Jared Allen. And so, they're closing the games with Joe Harris, Kyrie, Harden, and I guess Jordan. And that, to me, that's the biggest question is who's going to protect the rim. Maybe KD goes back to doing it like he did at times with the Warriors. But to me, that's the biggest question is when they go and face the Lakers. What they gonna do with AD? And they don't have an answer for AD on that roster right now. And I guess the answer is just keep scoring. You're just gonna have to keep scoring. You have to have all your trips down the floor are gonna have to end in buckets because they're not gonna be able to stop AD.
Well, Dominique, listen though, brother. What I'm trying to explain to you too also is that who said that they're done, making changes to their roster? The trade deadline is not till March, so they still could be in the process of making moves.
Right.
I strongly agree with you that they have to upgrade. DeAndre Jordan is not the DeAndre Jordan that we saw with the Clippers. I get that. And they did lose, in my opinion, by losing Jared Allen. But if you got to give up a Jared Allen in the trade to get back a James Harden, you doing that any day of the week. Hell, he said it himself. So I don't think that Sean Marks is done. And I think he's going to make other moves or acquire some more players at that center position to help them out and some more defenders. By the way, the kid Brown, he's been playing phenomenal on the defensive end when he get a chance to play minutes.
So the one thing that you brought up in your opening kind of opinion that we didn't touch on at all is where Kyrie's going to be at mentally. And that's hugely important because this game, you talked about people being willing to sacrifice. And you're right. I think they all care about championships more than they care about establishing themselves as superstars because they're all already established as superstars. So they'll be able to give up the ball. I don't think that'll be an issue. They'll be fine with their numbers going down. I don't think that'll be an issue necessarily. But what about all that other stuff? I think we politely kind of characterize Kyrie as mercurial or something like that. But that don't always fly, and you can't seem to rely on him to be there in those moments all the time because his head is in a bunch of different places. So that concerns me about adding Kyrie to this roster or adding him back.
And guess what, Dominique? And guess what, Dominique? The trade deadline is in March, so they still got a chance to see what Kyrie is going to do. And guess what?
Yeah.
He could be on the trading block too. Ooh. And they could get back a whole lot of assets and everything for Kyrie if he chooses not to come in and fit in and sacrifice. So to me, this is an audition for Kyrie Irving to show that he's ready to sacrifice and he's mentally there.